Hello and welcome to Knockhill in Scotland for the MK3 Championship of the Ma5da Racing Series. Jordan Stilp has taken pole position alongside Luke Herbert. Adam Gore and Chrissy Palmer line up on row 2. Matthew Davis ahead of Paul Sheard. Here we go, racing. Stilp with the yellow wing mirrors and a very good start from all of the 10 cars that are racing here. Side by side, Luke Herbert on the outside, but Stilp's going to have the inside racing line and takes the lead of the race. Side by side though for third position as well. Gore's going to have the inside line over Chrissy Palmer there. So Chrissy slots into fourth position, Paul Sheard in fifth. And then the 91 machine and Matthew Davis, who had a good qualifying session to be ahead of Paul Sheard, but on the start hasn't managed to make it stick. Chrissy Palmer dives to the inside line, but can't find a way through between that particular corner and has to settle for fourth position. All of this fighting in the first lap has allowed Luke Herbert and Jordan Stilp to get away at the front of the field, and they come to the hairpin side by side. Down the inside goes Luke Herbert to take the lead of the race from Jordan Stilp, but this is only lap 1 and these cars are very prone to beautiful slipstream racing. It's a tricky circuit around here at Knockhill, difficult to get completely right, and therefore a good challenge to sort the men from the boys. Herbert having to go a little bit defensive and therefore his line compromised down to the bottom of the hill, but he sits on the inside line for that third corner. Jordan Stilp's not going to be able to find a way through there. He's going to have to follow him all the way up the hill here. Fantastic corner here at Knockhill, up over the curb, left and then right, and then it sort of drops away from you on the exit, and that forces the car towards the gravel trap, and you just got to wait and hope that it grips. Stilp is all over the back of Luke. That's another curb to watch out for. 4 wheels over that, over the white line, and you will pick up a penalty. There's a few places around this Knockhill circuit that those regulations are enforced pretty hard, as Adam Gore goes defensive once more on Chrissy Palmer for third position. Chrissy gets a bit of a slide on and tries to get the drive out the corner to line himself up on the inside of Adam Gore as they head over the brow of the hill, and suddenly they'll be presented with the first corner, and I think Chrissy Palmer has got the speed out of that corner. These beautifully matched Ma5da MK3 cars, no difference in terms of speed, but Chrissy Palmer had the inside line and takes third position. Now in the championship, Luke Herbert, Chrissy Palmer and Jordan Stilp are the 3 men that have gone right out to the front. But Luke Herbert in the last few rounds has been so very, very strong that he's actually taken the lead. Chrissy Palmer was the dominator at the start of the year in that white car with the black roll hoop and the blue helmet, but he's really struggled in the last couple of races. He hasn't had the maximum out of his car, and he's just always been a little bit behind these two as Herbert locks up and Stilp dives down the inside to take the position. So Jordan Stilp back into the lead of the race. Just a small mistake there from Luke Herbert. I'm sure Jordan would say that it was his doing to force Luke into an error. Now Luke's trying to find the inside line and has the drive out the corner, has gone all the way around the outside. So an incredible piece of driving there from, well, his car, I suppose. Luke flat out. Oh, and Jordan Stilp's gone off into the grass. Is he going to keep it out of the barriers? Yes, he does, but he locked all 4 front wheels. And Jordan Stilp, who is battling so gallantly for the lead of the race, has now dropped to what I would suggest is the very, very back of the field. Not good at all from Jordan Stilp. Now he's going to have to get his head down. That should cause some entertainment. Oh, big old slide from Adam Gore. All 4 wheels drifting towards the gravel trap. And actually, I think it was that gravel trap that kept him pointing in the right direction. You'll find that sometimes the grass and the gravel has a bit more grip than the tarmac, especially on these sort of tyres. Having a quick look at Matthew Davis, and he's been passed by another of the Paul Sheard automobile cars, another of those white machines. Justin Newman is here this weekend as well. We haven't seen Justin for a while. The 68 machine has been to most of the races, but actually thanks to Paul Sheard, we've got a good grid here, because Paul Sheard fighting there with another of his drivers, Anthony Neild, and then there's Justin Newman behind. There's only Chris Lord and Jamie Ingram Oh, massive slide there from Anthony Neild, and just keeps the car pointing in the right direction. Oh no, yep, the gravel helping him again. But that's pushed him way down the field. He's also dragged a load of dust and gravel and nastiness onto the circuit, but not quite as dangerous as we saw in the Mark 1 races, where there was a huge amount of gravel on the exit of one of the corners, and that would have been dangerous. But Anthony Neild just about keeping the car out of the barriers, pointing in the right direction. And okay, he lost a few positions, but not the end of the world. Right, that is Jordan Stilp, making his way back up through the field. Luke Herbert over the line, Chrissy Palmer over the line for second. Now, Chrissy's got his head down, he's getting some good lap times out of his car, and he's slowly closing that gap. But Herbert really on the ragged edge. You can see the car moving around a huge amount. These Mark 3 cars are far more set up far softer than the Mark 1s, and therefore you can see the car moving around, how they're relying on that rear wheel. Matthew Davis then. He was the man that was being chased down by Jordan Stilp, and he's now been passed. There is Stilp, and he's going to try and get past Paul Sheard now. All settled at the front. Herbert, Palmer and Adam Gore. Stilp goes to the outside, the racing line of the hairpin. Paul Sheard positions his car in the middle of the road. A small lock-up there from Jordan Stilp. And now he's just going to get the better drive, and as soon as he's got that overlap, he's not picking up any slipstream, of course, but he's just had enough of drive out of the final corner just to have a small overlap. That'll give him the inside line, and Paul Sheard's braver on the brakes and decides to turn in, and now he will be able to defend at least for a few corners, because there's really no overtaking opportunities there unless you're very forthright with your car positioning. Over the brow of the hill they go again. The camera view not showing how incredibly roller coaster that particular part of the circuit is. Now we have the overlap, and Jordan Stilp's going to go down the inside. So what a recovery drive from Stilp. All four wheels over the white line there for Matthew Davis. Now Paul Sheard gets into the slipstream, and he's going to try and look to the inside line and try and outbrake Stilp if he can. You saw he was very brave on the brakes into the first corner. Matthew Davis goes to the full outside line, and that gives him the switchback, and now he'll have the inside line for the first corner. A good bit of driving there from Matthew Davis. Saw exactly what was going on ahead of him, was able to position his car to the very outside, and has not got the speed down the straights. Hard braking, the nose dipping on Paul Sheard's car as they approach that first turn. Too much curb taken. The car momentarily unsettled. You can see it bouncing around, and all of a sudden Sheard will be struggling to keep the car under control, but gathered it up. He now has Matthew Davis on his rear bumper again. Davis a little bit stronger on the brakes there, just caught out slightly. Slower in means faster out for Paul Sheard, and he's going to get a little bit of a gap as they go down to the hairpin, and that was an important gap as well, because this is really the main overtaking opportunity around this Knockhill circuit. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Luke Herbert still leads. Chrissy Palmer slowly reeling him in, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Then it's Adam Gore, and then Jordan Stilp, and then this battle we're focusing on. Paul Sheard and Matthew Davis. As you can see, they're really relying on the grip of the Kumo tyres. Interesting to note that these are track day tyres, they're not road tyres that the cars were used to racing on last year, and they're taking a little bit of getting used to. You do have to get a bit of temperature into them, almost reacting like slick tyres. And once you've done that, then they work much, much better for you. And so the first couple of laps, being brave on the tyres, when you haven't necessarily got as much grip as you're totally used to, that is where these experts like Herbert and Palmer and Stilp are making their advantage, if they don't make any mistakes, that is, of course. Matthew Davis still putting Paul Sheard under pressure, again gets the better drive out of the hairpin. He's going to have the inside line if he's got the momentum, and again the car is just not as fast. Sheard's cars are obviously bullets down the straight here. And there was just enough for Sheedy to be able to keep that advantage. There is Luke Herbert, the leader of your race, up over the hill once more. Nice and settled, nowhere near the curb. He's definitely backed off a little bit. Now turns in. Again, off camber on the exit. Chrissy Palmer chasing him down. The gap has come down to just over 2.5 seconds now. And Chrissy has got his head down. He knows that Luke Herbert is the man who is challenging him for the championship. Just Knockhill, Rockingham, and then finally the Croft rounds to go. And Luke Herbert comes across the start and finishing line. There is the warning flag. I thought they were getting the checkered flag ready. Warning flag for probably curbs around this circuit. Turns in once again, really laying the car on that left rear tyre as the circuit falls away from you, just hoping that the tyres continue to grip, keep everything steady. In a kart, you'd be really tensed up to try and make sure the rear end of the chassis stuck, but in these cars, obviously you don't need to do that. Worth mentioning that these are pretty much road spec Ma5da Mark 3s, Ma5da MX5 Mark 3s, and it makes incredibly affordable racing. Just a roll cage to be put in, the fire extinguisher of course. They do have uprated suspension and obviously running on different tyres, but all in all, very cheap series to go racing in, and this is the top spec of the Ma5da Championship. The Mark 1s, your $2.5 grand cars that you can go in, and that's why it's just so popular. And then if you want to make a real show of yourself, this is the place to do it. Luke Herbert, a massively successful karter in his time. Chrissy Palmer following him, Formula Ford Festival winner and front runner in the British Formula Ford Championship when he was running in it. And then Jordan Stilp, another star in karting, and he's just, we switch back, we can see that he's got past Adam Gore, so nice that our cameraman managed to pick that up. Not much going on the circuit, we're just following Luke Herbert round and round, but either way. Stilp then back up to 3rd position, which is not bad at all, considering he was lying in 2nd spot when he made that error at the bottom of the hill. Luke Herbert is looking pretty strong now to take the victory. And there is the checkered flag. Finally, Luke Herbert takes it. 2nd position for Chrissy Palmer. Just not enough laps to close that gap. And it's going to be Jordan Stilp who takes not only the 3rd position, but also a new lap record for the Ma5da Mark 5 Cup. Here is confirmation of the result. Herbert, Palmer and Stilp. Adam Gore in 4th. And Paul Sheard being demoted down to 7th position after picking up a 5-second penalty for using the curbs too much. 9 finishes with Chris Lord not finishing.
I got my warning, and then that was it. I was just like nowhere near the curbs. Every time it said 5-second penalty, I shut my eyes thinking, is it me? And then Adam got one. It said number 3, and it looks like number 2, and you just pray and hope it's not you. But yeah, I managed to dodge him, so just have to do the same for the next race.
Well, the next race coming up after this short break. Make sure you join us as Herbert sits on pole. Welcome back to Knockhill in Scotland for the 2nd race of the Ma5da's, the Mark 3 Championship, and the grid set by the result of race 1, which means Herbert and Palmer on the front row, Stilp and Gore, Chris Lord, who crashed in race 2, or retired from race 1, sorry, lines up in 10th position. Well, the lights are already going, and which means we're going to be underway straight away. Now, let's see what Chrissy Palmer can do alongside Luke Herbert. It is really important for him to start getting those good results again. On the outside, though, for the first turn, he's not going to be able to make that move. Adam Gore moves into 4th position. Palmer had to settle for 2nd. And Sheard has gone off, and he's tapped Matthew Davis as well. Lost the rear end there. And the runoff area is extremely muddy. There is Chris Lord, who's going to have certainly benefit from that. He's the last of our runners. And there are our top 3 then. Luke Herbert, Chrissy Palmer, Jordan Stilp and Adam Gore also involved in that one as well. Paul Sheard you'd expect to be part of that team, but he's going to be way back after those problems, and Luke is being very, very defensive on the inside, surely going to allow Adam Gore around the outside to take a bit of an advantage. We've also got Anthony Neal involved, so Neal's having a great run this first lap, again in a Paul Sheard Automotive's car. If it wasn't for Paul Sheard, we'd only have about 4 cars on this grid. Over the line they go, scraping against the pit wall. Luke Herbert, Chrissy Palmer, Jordan Stilp, Adam Gore in very close attendance with each other. Neal just lost a little bit down that straight. File their way through the bottom of the hill. Now coming back over the top, over the sausage there for Chrissy Palmer, the rear end of his chassis just rubbing slowly on the rear wheel, with a bit of smoke coming up. Chrissy just fakes a little move down the inside of Herbert. That would have scared Herbert just slightly. They run totally wide, not quite as wide as Anthony Neal, who's obviously really pushing, trying to get on terms with these front 4. Now they fan out. We're nearly going to go 3 wide. Luke Herbert gets put on the grass as Chrissy Palmer takes the lead of the race. Stilp tries to go around the outside. He's not going to get the momentum and he's going to get pushed as well. So Chrissy Palmer getting the elbows out now. He's going to have Luke Herbert on the inside, although he has the speed to be able to protect from Luke Herbert. But Herbert is not going to take kindly to being pushed onto the grass to the entrance of the corner, and Stilp's not going to like the fact that he was pushed onto the grass on the exit either. Here comes the attack into the first turn. Stilp trying to go around the outside. He's going to have to run on the curb there. Chrissy Palmer takes the position, but Luke Herbert's going to be on the inside line and is able to take back second spot. Stilp's going to drop to third. No more passing as they go over the brow of the hill here, that's for sure. Oh, and I think Stilp it was causing all that squealing as they went over the hill. The rear end just getting loose a little bit. Luke Herbert diving to the inside early to protect the racing line. Chrissy Palmer is in the position he wants to be in. At the top. Into the hairpin. Turns in, no attack from behind, so is able to take the racing line. Herbert does have Stilp really in his ring mirrors, and Adam Gore is able to be there as well. Then Anthony Neal is just sort of waiting in the breach to see if anything kicks off in front of him. He can pick up a few positions if they do. Palmer's gone to the very inside. No, Palmer's slowing down. Chrissy Palmer from the lead of the race has dropped out. There's been a swap of positions as well as Jordan Stilp has taken the lead. Maybe caught out by Chrissy Palmer going slowly over the start and finishing line. Herbert's now in the lead again. Gore is now third, and Anthony Neal right up there in fourth position. But Chrissy Palmer, what has happened to him? Where is he? Was it just a missed gear, or is he out of the race? I think he may be out of the race, and that means he'll have to take another low drop score from this meeting. It's still kicking off at the front, though. Herbert goes to the inside line to keep the defence on. Stilp to the outside. And Gore just wondering which line to take. Oh, great move from Jordan Stilp. Absolutely beautiful. Forced Luke Herbert into a small error, into braking a little bit too late, and just snuck himself down the inside. And it looks like Adam Gore's going to follow through as well. And Anthony Neal was also. Oh, and Luke Herbert's desperately trying to defend. He's got a good slipstream from Jordan Stilp, and now he's going to try and go down the inside, but Stilp's far too strong into that first turn. Adam Gore stays in third. Neal stays in fourth. By far the best run from Anthony Neal, this. Yellow flags are flying at the bottom of the hill, and that can only be for Chrissy Palmer's stricken car. Nightmare. Bounces over the curbs. Anthony Neal having a mega run of things. It's his first run in the Ma5da Championship this year, and has instantly slotted into that 20 car very comfortably. Stilp to the inside, Herbert to the very, very outside. He's going to try and get that cut back. Good drive out of the corner, get a little bit of an overlap, and then have the inside line for the first turn. I think it's going to work for him. He's got better speed all the way down the straight, and Jordan Stilp almost looks like he's standing still because he's lost that position way before the corner. Adam Gore has got serious attention from Anthony Neal as well through the first turn. And Luke Herbert once again leads this race from Stilp in second position. Gore and Neal fighting gallantly in third and fourth. And then you have Jamie Ingram and Justin Newman, Matthew Davis, Paul Sheard, Chris Lord still running in this race. But way, way back after that spin at the first corner. Here they come towards the hairpin once more. Luke Herbert stays to the inside, but no, now takes the racing line and goes defensive in the middle of the braking zone. Surely that's going to allow Jordan Stilp a little bit more speed. Maybe not quite enough. He's still in the slipstream, so he hasn't got the overlap like Luke Herbert had one lap before. Sits right in the slipstream, skims the pit wall. But there's going to be no way of an overtake through the first turn this time through. Gore sits ahead of Neil for third and fourth. An entertaining battle already in this second race of the MK3 Cup. Ma5da MX5 MK3 Cup. And a bit of a slide from Herbert. So Stilp sniffs an opportunity, but seemingly decides against trying to make a move through here. The most important thing is get a good run out of the corner and maybe make a move at the hairpin. They're going to continue this battle, aren't they? Certainly Stilp is close enough. Luke Herbert goes to the very inside line. We've seen him on the grass there at the start of the race. Stilp goes to the outside. Can he get that cut back? I don't think he can this time because Herbert was hanging on the apex. But certainly Herbert feels the need to go defensive as they go over the start and finishing line once more. Now Stilp sits in the slipstream. Can he find a way through? Those two cars so evenly matched. Luke Herbert running it himself with his father and Jordan Stilp with much support from their family. But the car is run by Rob Boston. Now we look further back in the pack. That is Jamie Ingram, 5th position at the moment, running ahead of Justin Newman. And that will be a particularly good result for Jamie Ingram, and the efforts of those that have come up to Knockhill have been rewarded because each one will get far better points. Only 10 cars. There's no waiting if there are less or more competitors, and therefore Jamie Ingram is going to pick up some very, very good points to the championship. He's missed a couple of rounds. Cadwell Park. No, Castle Coombe. No, Cadwell Park it was. Let's get it right. Where Justin wasn't able to race. He'd had a big issue at the third race at Anglesey. And Brands Hatch as well. He wasn't at. So it's not been a complete championship challenge for Jamie, but enjoying his racing and enjoying some good collection of points alongside Justin Newman, who also hasn't completed the full season either. Stilp then over the brow of the hill, still putting Luke Herbert under huge pressure. And remember that coming into this race, it was Stilp who was the lap record holder around here. Once again gets a good run towards the hairpin. Herbert's going to have to surely go defensive once more. Goes sort of feints defensive moves and moving around a huge amount under braking. Means he's not on the limit of his brakes because he was on the inside, then he decided to go the outside, and then he decided that he needed to defend and almost pointed his car to the apex of the corner. Really confusing Jordan Stilp. They go side by side over the line. He's got the overlap, but he's going to be on the wrong side of Luke Herbert as they go to this first corner. There's no way that Stilp's going to be able to go around the outside here. Surely not. He's going to make a move. He's going to try it. Misses the apex, has to back off, and therefore can't even have a go down the bottom of the hill here, even though it's a very tricky place to overtake because that whole section of turns is interlinked with each other. Over the top of the hill. Car's not quite getting completely airborne, such as their soft suspension, but I think they would try. Luke Herbert has got some serious work to do if he's going to keep Jordan Stilp behind him. Now Stilp third in the championship coming into this. With Chrissy Palmer's demise, I would speculate he's going to move up into second, but Luke Herbert is starting to take a good advantage in the championship. Second last year, and that's thanks to the number 2 on the side of the car, Rob Boston, the man who runs Jordan Stilp's car, and probably in that car won the championship. Not entirely sure which car it was, but Jordan Stilp raced in the Mark 1 cars last year and is now racing obviously in the Mark 3s. Luke Herbert did both championships last year, focusing now on the Mark 3s this year, especially with 3 races in a weekend. And now we turn our attention to the battle for 5th position between Justin Newman and Jamie Ingram. Somewhere between these two, of course, is Adam Gore and Anthony Neald, and Justin taking a very tight line through there. And actually, you know what? If you put your car so far to the inside of the competitor in front of you, they can't see you in the mirrors, and therefore they will blindly turn in. So a dangerous move there from Justin Newman, and what's more, it's really compromised the speed all the way through this section of turns. He's going to have to build up again to try and have another go at Jamie. It's been a solid run of things from the 15 car so far. Okay, not on the pace of the guys in front. These guys are some 20 seconds down the road from the leaders, but you've got to give it to them. It's a 15-minute race, so not a huge amount of time to make your breaks. Over the line they go, and Ingram stays in 5th ahead of Justin Newman. Absolute massive gap to Matthew Davis and Paul Sheard, who are the two that had that accident at the start of the race. Jordan Stilp, though, is still really pushing on. And look at that, Adam Gore has now got his head down. And Gore is starting to reel in these two. They've left Anthony Neald behind. But Stilp still wants this win. Herbert stays to the outside. No need to defend this time through at the hairpin. Jordan Stilp follows him through. Sits in the slipstream and just needs to plot an attack. Puts Luke under pressure. Very different type of racing to the racing that these two started out doing. Both massive stars in karting. Luke Herbert, part of the TKM fraternity, but Jordan Stilp, I'm sure, raced in the British Junior Championship. A very strong runner. Over the top of the hill. Bounces over the curbs, cocks a rear wheel. And in karting you have no time to plan or plot your pass because there's always so much going on, and actually around this Knockhill circuit there isn't much time to breathe. A little bit of breathing space through here just to work out what you're going to do. Luke Herbert cutting the grass as he came through that kink. It's not really a turn. Stilp a little bit later on the brakes, gets that rear nice and floaty as he turns in, and then gets the power down early, sits in the slipstream, but at the moment nothing that he can do about Luke Herbert. Almost needs to position his car in a really compromising position for Luke Herbert. Now let's see what they can do. Further back, Chris Lord and Matthew Davis. Now, Chris didn't have an accident in the first corner, but big slide from Matthew Davis, who was collected, of course, by Paul Sheard. And now Davis goes to the inside of Chris Lord, and that, I expect, is going to be relatively easy for him, yes. Despite the slide, a bit of contact damage from Paul Sheard, so his car's obviously limping round. It's a hefty hit going into that first turn. So another weekend to forget for Paul Sheard, who's going to drop further down behind Adam Gore in the points table. Last lap board being shown by the marshals on the finish line. That's the start line, the finish line a bit further back. One more chance then for Jordan Stilp to have a go. Not close enough, is he? Beautiful bit of driving there. You can see how the rear end of Luke Herbert's car was floating around as he was on the brakes, turned in with the brakes still slightly applied. Back end followed it round and then stamped on the accelerator. It's not been a particularly good start to the lap though from Luke Herbert, and Jordan Stilp is still really pushing, and this actually could go down to the final hairpin. Let's have a look what happens. Where does Luke Herbert position his car? He's going to go defensive, so Stilp is going to have to get the run out of the corner. He needs to go fully wide. Can he get the cut back? Tries to, hits the curb. Oh no! That was going to be game on, but Jordan Stilp hits the curb, lifts the rear wheel, doesn't get the drive over the start and finishing line. Luke Herbert gets the win. Jordan Stilp, gallant effort in second position. And those two, in the end, only 4 seconds ahead of Adam Gore in third position. Confirmation of the result and it was just 6/10 between Herbert and Stilp. Gore in third, Anthony Neal picking up a great fourth position, and a season best for Jamie Ingram in fifth. Paul Sheard finishing ninth, the last of our finishers.
I knew it was the last lap. I knew it was going to come, the move in the hairpin. So I just defended. When he went wide, I thought, right, I'll try and pull out. But then he tried to get the cut back. But I just had it covered. He tried to use the curve and it just sent him wide. So managed to get the victory. But the car is going, absolutely brilliant. So there's no complaints there. It's just, if I lose, it's down to me now. So
no, it was a really hard race. Luke held up a really good fight. I was trying everywhere possible to overtake around the outside on the first corner. Everywhere, tried to do the last lap, overtake on the last corner, and it didn't work. He knows how to close the door on the hairpin. So no, it was really unlucky. Just hopefully we can just step up one more place and win the last one.
I just started doing a bit of defending, and just the leaders are just quick, lap after lap, and they just broke away. So yeah, it's a bit of a quiet race, but it was still good fun.
Fun, the name of the game in the Ma5da Championship, and Adam Gore enjoying his racing immensely. One more race after the break. Welcome back to Knockhill for the third and reverse grid final race of the Ma5da Mark III Championship, and we've got Chris Lord and Paul Sheard on the front row of the grid thanks to the reverse grid, and that means that Chrissy Palmer lines up 10th alongside Luke Herbert, who won the race in 9th position. Lights go out, and we're racing here, and a very slow reaction time from the grid. Paul Sheard, though, has got a great opportunity, though, to win this race because his rivals are further back, and thanks to the reverse grid and his crash in the first corner, he's got the lead of the race. Justin Newman, though, getting balked and dropping to the back of the grid. A big lock-up as well, as that's Jamie Ingram, I think, trying to find a way past Matthew Davis. There's Davis in second spot. So we had a big... Oh, and Jamie Ingram's got into the gravel trap. He's lost the rear end going over the brow of the hill. And that is a nightmare for Jamie. Third position, going over the brow and just lost the rear. I'm not even sure he had any help at all. But the car in the gravel trap, and that surely means we'll have a safety car. Paul Sheard leads, Matthew Davis second, and in third position, that can't be Chrissy Palmer. Chrissy Palmer's got himself up to third spot, of course, from 10th, so he had an amazing start. Then it's Jordan Stilp, then Adam Gore, then Luke Herbert, and the arms go out of the car because the safety car boards are out, yes. They're not just putting their arms out pretending that they've got the wind going behind over their arms like you do as a kid. There are safety car boards out on circuit. We're not seeing them because our cameraman are a little bit slow. Either way, that is the sort of thing that happens in these reverse grid races, and that is exactly the reason why you need to remove that car. It's would be a very dangerous spot. If you come over the brow of the hill there, lose the car, you could end up with the same issue that Jamie Ingram had. So now we have to weave, keep the temperature of the tyres, ride the brake a little bit to keep the temperature of the brakes, calm yourself down and start thinking a little bit about how to make the brake at the restart. Paul Sheard is the man at the front. Plenty of experience in top flight racing in these Ma5da Mark IIIs. Stalwart of the championship, one of the first people to build one of these cars. There is the safety car. So there are a few options for him. He needs to drop back. When the safety car lights go out, he can drop back and then try and sort of basically get on the accelerator before Matthew Davis does, leaving Matthew Davis behind, leaving Matthew Davis to block all of the competitors behind him as well, and therefore Paul Sheard gets a little bit of breathing space. That's what he could do. Or he could keep the speed up and not do that sort of thing. I mean, that's the sort of thing that's expected. Ah, now, hang on a second. That is the 66 car of Chrissy Palmer. Oh, now that is confusing. So Chrissy Palmer has had a car change since race 1. He's got the spare car of Paul Sheard's. There is Paul Sheard's actual car and the orange roll cage. Chrissy Palmer's car normally has a black roll cage. It's run by Paul Sheard but owned by Chrissy Palmer. But to get Palmer out in this particular race, because 3 races in one day, Chrissy's had to jump into the spare Paul Sheard car. Okay, so he didn't get a good start then. And actually, that is Anthony Neild who lies in 3rd position, ahead of Stilp. Then there's Herbert. No, that's Gore, sorry. So Stilp had a good start, ahead of Gore. Then Herbert behind. And actually, Chrissy Palmer is lying in 8th position, penultimate car on track. So a little bit of weaving going on. Of course, that does help the front tyres. You can imagine that the rubber's moving around as every time you turn the wheel on the carcass of the tyre, and therefore creates a little bit of heat, and that heat makes them stickier and gives you more grip. And also the temperature through the brakes helps that too. But until we know that the car is cleared from the top of the hill there, not too much point being too vigorous about this, because you can always just warm them back up again. And there is an argument for saying that if you weave too much, you're actually starting to use the tyres, and that's not what you want to be doing. You're not trying to wear them out, you're just trying to keep the temperature in them. So Herbert leads the championship. There is the man. And Jordan Stilp is now ahead of Palmer in 2nd, because Palmer had to drop that score of 0 from retiring from that last race. Jamie Ingram is now free from the gravel trap, but thanks to the marshals helping him out, he has to pull the car behind the barrier, so he will take no further part in this race. And hopefully we will go racing very shortly. There's a safety car leading the pack around this Knockhill circuit. The Land Rover will part, the lights will go off, and we'll be racing after this break. Welcome back to Knockhill. The green flag is flying and we are racing once more. Into the first corner, Paul Sheard leads from Matthew Davis. Jordan Stilps jumped into 3rd position, having restarted in 4th. Adam Gore there is in 4th spot, so Anthony Neild's been shuffled down 2 positions in the white car with the red roll bar and, red wing mirrors and black roll bar. And Neild having his first experience of the Ma5da Championship this weekend and has had a really good run of things. Now he's under pressure from Chrissy Palmer, who is in the backup car for Paul Sheard this weekend. Runs a little bit wide. He had a car failure in race 2, and Chrissy Palmer now really wants to make amends for that in this 3rd race of the weekend. Sheardy on the defensive, going into the hairpin. Matthew Davis on the back foot, and Jordan Stilp slides down the inside of Davis to take that position, up to 2nd position already, making quick work of the back markers, making quick work of the traffic. Adam Gore trying to find an inside to Matthew Davis as well. I think he might have got the overlap, so he'll quickly follow through. Luke Herbert, though, not at all involved in the battle at the front of the field, so Stilp has a massive advantage over Herbert for the moment. Down the hill they go. Paul Sheard is, remember, a front runner in this championship, had a spin at the start of race 2, and therefore that's why he ended up on pole for this race 3. He finished the last race in 8th spot. Top 8 reversed, he got pole position. So in theory, he should be a match for Jordan Stilp, but Jordan Stilp is just looking so fast. And doesn't matter if there are any rules about where you overtake, Stilp is ignoring them completely as Anthony Neild dips a wheel into the gravel trap and cuts a lot of dust into the face of his teammate, Chrissy Palmer. Now Jordan Stilp on the defensive from Adam Gore, who's looking equally racy. Gore's going to take the position from Paul Sheard for sure and up to 2nd spot, but Sheard may well get the drive out of the corner. Chrissy Palmer has got the overlap on Anthony Neild for 5th position as Luke Herbert starts to reel in those 2. Chrissy needs to try and make the move. He can't get past because there's just not enough speed in his car. That's interesting to note. Anthony Neal has a very fast race car underneath his little foot. I'm not sure if it's little, actually, he might have really big feet. Either way, not enough either traction or horsepower for Chrissy Palmer to jet through, and he's had to sit behind for yet another lap. He's going to have to do it on the brakes of the hairpin, not out of the hairpin. So, Stilp leads. It's Gore in second position. Paul Sheard still holding on to third ahead of Matthew Davis, but Davis is going to be wanting to try and get through, and therefore Paul Sheard has to go defensive. Going to the hairpin already, Matthew Davis has got the overlap and goes to the outside. No way through. Chrissy Palmer doesn't try a move on his teammate either. There is Chrissy exiting the hairpin, and Luke Herbert hasn't got the speed either. So this is a fast pace that Jordan Stilp has established at the start of this race. We've got warning flags already going out for various competitors using too much curb. It's a running theme here at Knockhill, and actually, to be honest, at many race circuits, they build these massive curbs and then say you can't race them, you can't drive on them. Really silly, to be fair. If they don't want us to drive on the curbs, then just don't build the curbs. Either way, Matthew Davis still trying to find a way into third spot, trying to get past Paul Sheard, who runs a little bit wide. And we wait. Yes, good. There they are. The top two comes through. Still no challenge from Gore this time. Paul Sheard, though, not only has Matthew Davis behind him, and a bit of contact too, I think, between the two. That's going to allow Anthony Neal surely to have an advantage going into the first corner. He's going to have better momentum, that's for sure. Paul Sheard on the defensive, and going around the outside comes Anthony Neal. He's going to try and go around the outside of Matthew Davis first, but he's just not going to be able to slot in. There's going to be no way to slot in. Surely he's going to try and go all the way around the outside. No, decides against it. Sensible driving there from Anthony Neal. Not really an overtaking opportunity around the outside. So line astern they stay. Great entertainment. Chrissy Palmer still trying to find a way past all three of them. Paul Sheard, just for some reason this weekend, just does not look particularly fast. Not the match of the top three that he used to be, that's for sure. Adam Gore, however, is just there and thereabouts. Maybe not quite as consistent as our really top runners, but Luke Herbert's having a dreadful race. Just got no speed whatsoever. Down the inside goes Paul Sheard to defend from Matthew Davis, but Anthony Neal follows him through, and Neal's made up a position. Davis is going to lose another one because Chrissy Palmer's going to try and dial down the inside. Ooh, and it's just getting a little bit messy as Neal goes defensive. Paul Sheard takes the racing line. He's got no problems from behind this time. Neal has made it through ahead of Davis. Chrissy Palmer did not have it. Whoa! Woo! Matthew Davis, that was a moment. Huge amounts of curb taken through the first turn. Ooh, a little dipping of the wheel into the gravel from Anthony Neal. I think he'll get away with that one. Over the top of the hill they go. Oh no, he's lost the rear end. Neal's gone off into the gravel. We saw him doing that. That's almost a direct repeat of his race one. Too hot over the brow of the hill. The car doesn't settle. Oh dearie me. Neal drops back then. Fast but inconsistent in these Mazdas. So, Sheard still holds on to third. Matthew Davis fourth. Now Chrissy Palmer in fifth. Davis exits dreadfully the hairpin all over the place. And surely that's going to allow Chrissy Palmer to have a go. Although it looks as though, despite the slide, he's matching Paul Sheard in terms of pace over the start and finishing line. Goes to the outside line. Luke Herbert's made up one position over Anthony Neal. Herbert tries... Sorry, that's Davis trying to turn in, but there was a car already there. Paul Sheard's doing a good job. He's not got the pace. Certainly not got the pace, but he definitely is able to try and hold these two behind and hold on to that third spot, that podium position. Here comes Matthew Davis, though. He's had a better run, and he's going to have the inside line, and not only is that going to compromise Paul Sheard for that position, it means that Sheard is going to be under pressure from Chrissy Palmer, the star of his team, going into the hairpin for sure. Now, which one's which? Chrissy Palmer, I think, is the one on the right-hand side of the screen, on the racing line. Paul Sheard goes defensive, late on the brakes as well, and it holds the position. No, Chrissy Palmer was the one with the red mirrors. Chrissy Palmer takes the position. Oops. quite similar livery. Not used to seeing Chrissy with the red roll bars. Over the line they go. All changed then. Matthew Davis up to third, and what's more, putting the hammer down. Good driving by Matthew Davis. Davis does lie in the championship in 6th position, just behind Paul Sheard and Adam Gore. There is our leader though, Jordan Stilp, has been threatening the top step of the podium all weekend, but thanks to Luke Herbert's masterly driving, Herbert hasn't given up, and therefore Stilp has had to settle for 2 second positions. This though looks like it's going to be his race through the final hairpin. A little bit of a slide, still being chased by his teammate, but it's not going to be enough. The checker flag falls for Jordan Stilp, and as the rain starts to fall here at Knockhill, Stilp gets his win. A solid points haul as well for Adam Gore in 2nd position. A 1-2 for Rob Boston Racing as well. And Matthew Davis, his best result ever in the championship. First time on the podium for him in 3rd. And it's Palmer and Sheard. And look at that, Luke Herbert finishing down in 7th position by the end of the race. Anthony Neal passing him before the race. And a very disappointing result. And that'll be a drop score for Herbert in the championship.
Had quite a bit of confidence because we knew we had the speed, we just didn't have the luck that went along with it. We tried our hardest, we changed a few things on the car, but no, it was a fantastic race. Just had to put my head down. Me and Adam just pushed our way through, so it's brilliant for the team. A 1-2 for Rob Boston Racing, so yeah, we're reeling them in the championship. It's just hopefully it can be like this for the rest of the season. Yeah, good result, points as well, so that's all important. It would have been nice to get the win, but obviously he's my teammate and he's going for the championship, so I've got to play the rules, haven't I?
And indeed, those championship points then. Herbert well ahead of Stilp, who's in 2nd, just 1 point ahead of Palmer, who drops to 3rd now. Gore safely ahead of Paul Sheard, and Matthew Davis in 6th position. It's been an entertaining weekend's racing here at Knockhill. The Mark III Cup head down to Rockingham for the next rounds. See you then.